Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the news cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. We begin from the presidency, where Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for stronger collaboration among federal, state and private sector stakeholders to drive the Tinubu's administration's skill acquisition agenda, declaring the era of working in isolation as being over. Speaking at the 7th meeting of the National Council of Skills held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, the Vice President said government's skill revolution is a central pillar of President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which prioritizes human capital development and job creation. A statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communication Office of the Vice President, Stalin Kocha, noted that the Shettima said the skills revolution is one of the covenants that the administration has entered into with the people of Nigeria. Meanwhile, the federal government has published Nigeria's new tax reform laws in the official gazette following President Bola Tinubu's assent on June 26. The announcement was contained in a statement signed by the personal assistant on special duties to the President, Kamaruddin Yusuf. The reforms introduced include 4 regulations: the Nigerian Tax Act 2025, Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act 2025, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act 2025. And now moving to legislative matters, where the House of Representatives Committee on Land Transport has summoned the Minister of Transportation, Saidu Alkali, giving him 40 hours, to appear before it over the recent derailment of an Abuja-Kaduna-bound train. The train, carrying over 600 passengers, derailed in Kaduna, raising renewed safety concern about the nation's rail infrastructure. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick completes the report.
The committee, which convened an investigative hearing, expressed displeasure at the minister's absence. Chairperson of the committee, Blessing Onu, described the non-appearance of the minister as turning his back on Nigerians at the time they need him most. Lawmakers say the Abuja-Kaduna train remains a critical national asset and the safety of passengers cannot be compromised.
We demand the presence of the Honorable Minister within 48 hours to appear before this Honorable House on Thursday by 2. Should we make it 12 or earlier? 12 p.m. Thursday. And if you are coming, Edie, if you are coming, make sure you get a letter. Come with a letter from your MD.
Also speaking, Deputy House spokesman Philip Agbese said the minister's conduct portrayed incompetence and contempt for both Nigerians and the parliament. On his part, a member of the committee, Cyril Hart, maintained that the derailment exposed serious lapses in the rail system.
There's also no doubt about the fact that the Honorable Minister has deliberately refused to be part of this meeting because of the gravity of his inefficiency and his incompetence.
618 Nigerians we are almost murdered because of the incompetence of the minister and his team. CCEC, from what I read from one of the Chinese magazines, was that the railway constructed by CCEC almost killed Nigerians.
The committee thereafter suspended its sitting, insisting that the minister must appear in person or risks being reported directly to the president. Anita Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Away from that matter to environmental matters, where Balarabe Lawal, Minister of Environment, has raised alarm over the country's worsening air pollution crisis. The minister, who raised the alarm at a national dialogue in Abuja to commemorate the 2025 International Day of Clean Air, warned that such pollution claims over 114,000 lives annually. Global TV's correspondent Ubong Usoro completes the report.
The International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies is observed every September the 7th. It was established by the United Nations in 2019 to raise awareness about the dangers of air pollution, promote global cooperation, and encourage countries to take urgent action for cleaner air. Minister of Environment Balarabe Lawal says the federal government's Clean Air Program will prioritize cutting emissions, expanding renewable energy use, and enforcing stricter controls on industrial and vehicular pollution.
Without oxygen, without clean air, there is no way you can survive. Clean air is number one. Once there is no oxygen, none of us will be here. After oxygen, air, then water. So oxygen is number one, and oxygen can only be obtained from a very clean air. So that's why.
Delivering the keynote lecture, Professor Chika Dara of the Pediatric Association of Nigeria warned that children are the most vulnerable to polluted air, with rising cases of asthma and lung infections tied directly to exposure.
Pediatrics Association of Nigeria commends your tireless efforts in promoting a healthy environment for all Nigerians, especially children, who are most vulnerable to air pollution.
In a symbolic highlight, the minister joined Nigeria's Climate Justice Youth Ambassador team in a spoken word performance, urging Nigerians to raise awareness and push grassroots solutions for cleaner air and environmental justice.
And even in Abuja, the haze won't stay away. They say air is free, a gift divine. They call it progress. They call it growth. But what is development if it kills us both?
The event renewed call for urgent action to curb harmful emissions, including particulate matter, ozone pollutants, which threaten both human health and environment. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has intensified its crackdown on underdeveloped lands across Abuja. At the River Park Estate along Airport Road, the administration, led by the Department of Development Control, has begun demolition of properties whose allocations were revoked after years of failure to develop. Kabir Hassan completes the story.
The demolition exercise carried out by the FCTA Department of Development Control follows the administration warning that lands left undeveloped for years risks revocation. At River Park Estate, bulldozers moved in to clear parcels of lands where developers failed to meet development guidelines despite holding allocation for several years. Director of Development Control FCTA, Mukhtar Galadima, says the demolition at River Park Estate is just one of several operations planned across the capital city, assuring that the aim is not punishment but to ensure proper development and sustainable use of land in Nigeria's capital.
One of the recommendations being forwarded was that all undeveloped plots within the estates be reverted back to FCT administration. So we got a report that some developers are hurriedly working day and night to see that they have developed some of the vacant plots. So what we do as an agency, we serve them notice to stop work, and then we withdrew the building plan approval granted.
He noted that the administration has demolished over 30 structures on revoked plots with officials of the development control. He stated that the genuine allottee who comply with stipulated terms have nothing to fear.
But from the report submitted from the work of the committee, it's like, one, there was a development lease agreement which has already expired. Yes.
The administration insisted that the exercise is in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda to restore Abuja master plan and discourage land speculation. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
Let's now turn our attention to election matters, where Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yaqub, has observed a disturbing trend of premature political campaigns ahead of the elections in Nigeria, which poses a major threat to democracy. The Commission's chairman made the observation at a round-table discussion with regulatory agencies and electoral experts in Abuja. Sadia Yakubu completes the report.
Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, explained the problem of early campaigns and inability of INEC and other regulatory agencies to curb the menace within the existing legal framework has necessitated broad consultation.
Around the country, we have seen outdoor advertising, media campaigns and even rallies promoting various political parties and candidates. These actions and activities undermine the Commission's ability to track campaign finance limits as politicians, prospective candidates, and third-party agents expend large amounts of money that cannot be effectively monitored before the official commencement of campaigns.
Also speaking, former INEC Chairman Professor Atahiru Jiga emphasized that elections remain the foundation of democratic development. He says premature campaigns not only breach the law, but also erode the integrity of the electoral process.
All election campaign offenses, and especially premature offenses, should be carefully defined with stiff penalties, specified and strict enforcement where applicable.
Chairman Board of Electoral Institute, Professor Abdullahi Abdul Zuru, described Nigerian's democracy as one in transition and stressed the need for collective solutions to address the challenges.
When aspirants or parties compete to dominate visibility long before the official campaign period, it distorts fairness and raises the cost of political competition. Moreover, it distracts from governance as elected officials become more concerned with sustaining political relevance than delivering public service. Over.
Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television.
Let's now turn our attention to security matters, where the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has reiterated the Nigerian Army's commitment to improving the welfare of personnel and developing infrastructure that will enhance operational efficiency in the discharge of their constitutional duties. Lieutenant General Oluyede gave the assurance at the Joe Cantonment in Makurdi, headquarters of the 401 Special Forces Brigade Command, where he commissioned 5 special projects. The projects were originally Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, and completed under the present administration.
I think it's important for us to know that when we're giving resources, that these resources are adequately and judiciously used for the betterment of our service. So that's why we're simply yesterday. The modest infrastructure updates within the cantonment are simply part of our drive to make the lives of our officers and soldiers better. And that's what we shall continue to do. I'll round up my comments by thanking the President, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for providing us the right direction and providing resources for us to do this.
You are watching the live broadcast of the news cycle. When news cycle returns, police fire tear gas as thousands protest Nepal's social media ban. Details coming shortly, plus business and sport stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back from that break, and if you're just tuning in, this is the news cycle coming to you live from the nation's capital. And now to business news, where Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patient Oniha, says reliance on external loans exposes economies to exchange rate risk and refinancing pressure. The Director General, who was represented by Deputy Director Mariam Umar, made this known as the closing of the 11th Annual Conference of the West African Association of Public Accounts Committee, WAPAC, held in Abuja. Anita Patrick reports.
Nigeria's rising debt and its impact on West Africa's stability has again come under the spotlight. Deputy Director of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, noted that the region's public debt has ballooned in the last decade, worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, while debt service now takes a significant share of revenues. she listed Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal as the top borrowers.
The debt service cost, which I mentioned earlier, as a result of the global interest rate hike, because the tightening of the monetary policy has led to increase in the cost of borrowing, especially from the domestic sources. Also, there's weak domestic capacity. There's data gaps.
Nigeria's Auditor General for the Federation, Shaka Chira, disclosed that the country's debt stock stood at over 143 trillion naira as of December 2024, made up of both external and domestic components. He said performance audits are underway to ensure funds are put to productive use.
As at 31st December 2024, not audited yet, the public debts of the Federation stood at 143.5 trillion, and out of it, external component of the public debt, 68.8 trillion.
Former lawmaker Nicholas Osai, NUJFCT Chairperson Grace Ike, and Sustainable Debt Management.
Today, you do debt servicing by 70% of your revenue, so how much is left to do infrastructures? Sometimes there was a time in this country where borrowing to pay recurrent expenditure. That's not supposed to be. Borrow to pay recurrent expenditure. At that time, our revenues, 98% was used in servicing debt.
There's need for monitoring and investigative collaboration. We all know investigative journalism is not an easy thing. There's money, funds needs to go in. So we need to also devote time and another platform where we have journalists that will be trained, when it comes to undercover journalism, reporting of that management and public account.
At the end of the deliberations, participants underscore physical discipline, economic diversification, and stronger oversight as critical to preventing debt from undermining growth and stability in the region. Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Thousands of residents in Kano State have received life-changing empowerment items as part of an initiative by the Executive Director, Technical Services at the Rural Electrification Agency, Umar Abdullahi Ganduje. He said the effort is aimed at boosting self-reliance and improving livelihoods within the state. Global TV correspondent reports. The event, held at the Amani Event Center in Nasarawa Local Government area of Kano State, featured the distribution of motorcycles, fertilizers, milling machines, water pumps, sewing machines, bags of rice, and other essential commodities. Abba Ganduje explained that the initiative was designed to promote self-reliance among party members, boost morale, and support daily livelihoods. He emphasized that the empowerment drive would be sustained, building on similar interventions he had carried out in the past.
But for the first time, we are having a very high-ranking attendance of personalities. So we are very happy, we are very impressed, and this energizes us to even try and do more. And Sardauna, please, I would like to use this opportunity to also request your presence in future such launchings we are going to have. As a three-time member, we know this is one of your secrets, empowering the people in your constituents. So we'll continue to aspire to do such programs. So also like to thank every single person, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
The son of the former governor of Kano State also called on residents to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to ensure greater dividends of democracy for the people. He urged beneficiaries to put the items to good use in order to achieve self-sufficiency and improve their livelihoods. With this gesture, Abba Ganduje reaffirmed his commitment to grassroots development and empowerment across Kano State. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global TV News. And now to news making rounds on the international scene, where United States President Donald Trump has urged the European Union to slap 100% tariffs on China and India as part of its efforts to pressure Russia to end its war in Ukraine. Trump made the call after dialing into a meeting of United States and European Union's officials in Washington, D.C. Trump indicated that he is prepared to impose steeper tariffs on China and India, two major buyers of Russian oil, if European nations did as well. And still on the foreign scene, in Kathmandu, Nepal, where police have fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse thousands of demonstrators demanding the government to lift its ban on social media and address corruption in the country. Our foreign correspondent, Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reports.
The protests erupted after authorities blocked 26 unregistered platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and X, leaving millions of users cut off from popular sites since Friday.
The reason behind the movement today is not just because social media ban. We are here against the corruption institutionalized so we are here gathered here to protest against that as well, and also we are here to question where our tax money went.
Waving national flags, young demonstrators began with the national anthem before chanting against the social media ban and corruption. The rally swelled as crowds moved toward restricted areas near Parliament, with some climbing over the wall into the premises. Police said clashes left many injured, while hospitals reported packed emergency wards. Authorities have since imposed a curfew around key locations, including the Parliament, the President's residence, as well as the Prime Minister's office. The government insists the ban follows a Supreme Court order requiring companies to register locally and appoint compliance officers. As tensions rise, Nepal faces growing pressure to restore access to social media platforms and respond to citizens' demand for accountability and change. Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
Inspections of Iran's nuclear facilities. The announcement followed a meeting among Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati, his Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi, and International Atomic Energy Director General Rafael Grossi. The meeting came at a sensitive time as France, Germany, and United Kingdom on August 28 began the process of reimposing sanctions on Iran over what they have deemed non-compliance with a 2015 agreement aimed at preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons. And now moving to sports, where the Nigerian Cricket Federation has named a 15-man squad for the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup Africa qualifier, which will be played in Zimbabwe from September 28 to October 4. Captain Sylvester Okpe leads the team and will be joined by his brother Isaac Okpe, Elijah Olaleye, Salim Salau, Suleiman Runsowe, and Isaac Danladi, who have all been to different foreign training since July. The trio, Okpe, Olaleye, and Salau, are in Zimbabwe's domestic league from August 2nd to September 14, offering them value exposure to high-level competition. Away from that to table tennis, where Kadri Aruna has made a powerful start to his World Table Tennis Championship Macau 2025 campaign with a straight games victory over China's Hong Yongzin in the men's singles round of 32 on Tuesday. The world number 26, who has endured a difficult run of form in recent months, was in commanding mood at the Macau East Asian Games Dome as he bruised aside the wildcard entry 11-3, 11-8, 11-8. Aruna won 33 points overall compared to Hong's 19, converting 19 on his own serve and 14 on his opponent. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276.